In the early 1990s, Chevrolet built what was one of the most interesting Corvettes ever, the original 4-cam ZR-1. The engine was mostly developed between General Motors and Lotus and built by Mercury Marine. The team at Lotus went through that fourth-generation Corvette platform to optimize the handling and performance, utilizing tricks they've learned in Formula One racing. But today, we're taking a look at an amazing 1994 ZR-1 Corvette that came to the V8 Speed Resto Shop for some paint detailing and minor maintenance. This Corvette looked clean when it showed up at the shop because it's nearly new. It was showing just over 2,500 miles on the odometer, but it still had more than 2 decades of time, which had oxidized the paint. So in our case, it was time to perform a wash, paint correction, polish, and some ceramic protectant to bring back that 28-year-old paint to a brand new shine. This ZR-1 was going to require more than just a simple wash, so we enlisted the talents of V8 Speed Resto Shop team member Toby Cochran to perform the magic. Now, there are many ways to wash a vehicle, but Toby decided to flip things upside down on this one and approach things from the bottom up.
The reason why is because if we spray any contaminants from the bottom of the car, like road tar, brake dust off the wheel, then later, if it gets missed somehow and if we buffed over it or something, it could be pretty catastrophic. Plus, it just makes sense in terms of efficiency.
It's really cool to watch that dirt and grime come off, especially when it reveals nearly brand new material underneath.
I like doing the wheels first because it's by far probably the dirtiest thing in the car.
Many people use a bucket of soapy water and a hose to wash their car, but we learned a long time ago that the bucket can actually return contaminants back to the surface of the car.
When you use a foam cannon, you're hitting every inch of this car, like every inch. I mean, every crack is hit, and then when you go with the detail brush along all the cracks, knock all that out. Because the old-fashioned way is, if you're doing it right, would be a 2-bucket wash method where you put the wash mitt and the soap and water in the bucket. You put your mitt back in the second bucket to rinse it off. Well, I like this because I just keep going. And I don't have to keep putting my mitt back in the bucket. The amount of suds that are on the surface of the paint can make it to where you can literally just keep detail brushing using your wash mitt without having to constantly put your wash mitt in a wash bucket, or you don't miss a spot. So it's really efficient.
Now, washing and drying a car might sound simple, but it's something that we take very seriously at the V8 Speed Resto Shop. We have specially treated water to eliminate water spots, but it's always important to dry the car properly.
I mean, the main reason is because, especially a car like this, because there's so many crevices in this thing. Like, if you come along here, along this rear window, this crack right here, you may not be able to tell, but that's like an inch deep, and water just puddles up in there. And then when you move the car around, or you open this hatch or drive it, water is gonna fling all over the side of this car and then dry on it, and then it's gonna leave water spots. And unless you use like a conditioned water like we use, that's gonna have to be buffed off. Unless you have some kind of special water spot remover, because if you do all this work washing this car, leave the water in there, it flings all over the car, like you didn't even do anything.
Our ZR-1 looked great after its bath, but a clean finish also reveals some of the imperfections.
Luckily, I got very lucky being the detail guy. This car is actually in really good shape already. And most of all the scratches have come off with just polish, not even using compound. Because There is some spots, I will say. It is a nice car, but there is some spots that needed some compound. It's been in a garage its whole life, and the only scratches I really had to remove the compound, there's quite a few in the hood, which I think are from rocks and stuff, because there's some rock chips in it. And then right here on the sides of the hatch, there's been some. My guess is from people putting stuff in and out of the trunk. Other than that, this whole thing has been pretty much just polished, and it looks great. It's like glass, basically. Yeah, I got kind of lucky on this one. Most cars, pretty much every other car, honestly, needs all 3 steps. Yeah, for 36-year-old paint, it's pretty damn good.
Once Toby completed the polish process, our Corvette looked great, but the paint was essentially naked. There is no protective film left on this whatsoever, and it would quickly oxidize if protection was not applied. In this case, we're going to be adding a ceramic-based coating. It's different from traditional carnauba or synthetic wax. Ceramic is not only easier to use, it provides an amazing shine, but also some very cool characteristics, like the ability to repel water. It's obvious that Toby not only really enjoys performing these procedures, but he takes tremendous pride in his work, and it shows. Our '94 ZR-1 has a better shine than it ever did new. And the owner's excited as well. In fact, he's going to be competing with this car at the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals show in Chicago, where the top Corvette judges in the industry will be examining Toby's work to see how well he did. If you have a classic or muscle car that needs some paint correction and detail work, or maybe everything from rust repair to a complete new paint job, you can reach us anytime online at v8speedshop.com.